For some Nigerians, 2023 would be one of the most remarkable years in recent memory, with defining moments and major events, some cheering and some unpleasant. One of the major highlights is the 2023 elections that ushered in the renewed Hope Agenda administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the captain of the Nigerian ship. The narrow redesign policy greeted with public anger and expression of frustrations, highs and lows in critical sectors of the economy, and many more. As the year is gradually winding down, Weekend File will x-ray some of the major events that shaped 2023 and, of course, expectations for the coming year, 2024. To do justice to this is the Director of Special Duties and State Operations, National Orientation Agency, David Akoji. I am Olajide Bello. First the news. Now let's start with the legislature. The National Assembly has passed the 2024 appropriation bill of 28.7 trillion. This is the first time Nigeria's budget is passed on a weekend during a special sitting in the bicameral legislature, and details of this will come in our subsequent bulletin. Chairperson of Liberia's National Elections Commission, NEC, Davideta Brown Lansana, has acknowledged the pivotal technical support rendered by INEC Nigeria and Professor Mahmoud Yakubu in establishing a workspace and bolstering the electoral process in Liberia. While dedicating a workspace for staff of NEC Liberia to Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, the Liberian NEC chairperson commended Nigeria for sustaining Liberia's democratic journey so far. Professor Mahmoud Yakubu acknowledged NEC Liberia for the honorarium bestowed upon INEC Nigeria and emphasized the value of the resource in enhancing the operational capabilities of staff, particularly through information technology facilities. Professor Yakubu recalled INEC Nigeria's assistance during Liberia's 2017 presidential election and highlighted the joint efforts of its experts from INEC and NEC Liberia in addressing stakeholders' concerns regarding the voters' register towards a hitch-free exercise. He underscored the complexity of election management and urged prioritizing peer support amid limited resources and escalating election costs. President Bola Tinubu has restated his determination to utilize the available resources to ensure lasting peace in the Southeast. He stated this while unveiling the logo of peace in the Southeast project. Ifamando Okole reports that the project is a strategic platform for the restoration of peace in the Southeast region, envisioned by the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu.
The unveiling was part of the activities to mark the civic reception, Thanksgiving and homecoming of the Deputy Speaker of Federal House of Representatives by his band, the people. President Tinubu, who was represented by the Vice President, Senator Kashim Shettima, noted that government is aware of the numerous challenges confronting the Southeast region and has devised means of addressing them. He commended the convener of the Peace Project for the initiative, which he noted is in tune with the realities in the region and in achieving enduring peace.
We know that the Southeast has weathered too many storms, but the current economic stagnation has shaken the foundation of this beautiful region. And we are not going to sit back and watch the fire go beyond where we found it.
Various speakers at the event regretted that Southeast, which used to be the fastest growing economy in Africa, is now faced with numerous security challenges and described the Peace Project as a platform to extend peace to other regions.
We, the people of the Southeast, hereby declare that peace is what we stand for as a region. It is indeed a very welcome idea, which must be commended. Anything that will bring peace in the Southeast is very dear to all of us.
I task the Deputy Speaker and his team to prioritize education and awareness.
There is one thing that connects all of us, and that is unity, and that is peace, especially because we are desiring progress.
The event features symbolic release of pigeons as sign of peace, as well as conferment of chieftaincy title of Omeziri Igbo on President Bola Tinubu. Peace in the Southeast Project, PICE-P, is a 5-year peace building and development initiative designed to address the socio-economic challenges and security issues facing the Southeast region. From Bende local government area of Abuja State, Ifeoma Ndu-Okolie, NTA News.
And away from the southeast, the transmission company of Nigeria, TCN, says 3 of its towers along Maiduguri-Damaturu power line have been destroyed by explosives. This is coming barely a week after 2 towers along Gombe-Damaturu transmission line were vandalized and disrupted power supply in Yobe and Borno states. In a statement, TCN states that the incident also cost the life of personnel of Nigeria's Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC. TCN commiserates with the family of the deceased and the NSCDC for the sad and shocking incident. The 30th edition of the National Quranic Recitation Competition has ended peacefully in Damaturu, the Yobe state capital, with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu advocating improvement in quality and quantity in the number of Islamia schools across the country for Quranic recitation and memorization to go from strength to strength. Yunusa Sulaiman reports.
For the past 1 week, 248 combined participants from 34 states of the Federation and FCT Abuja keenly contested in 6 different categories of the competition, exhibiting their prowess and mastery in recitation and memorization of the glorious Quran before a panel of judges saddled with the responsibility of assessing their performance. At the end of the week-long contest, in the male first category of the memorization of the whole Quran with tafsir and different modes of recitation, a 22-year-old Ibrahim Mohammed Nasir from Bauchi State emerged winner after scoring 82.7% to defeat other contestants, while in the females category, Zainab Aliyu Mohammed from Kano State becomes the overall winner with 85.4%. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu represented, who underscores the importance of Quranic recitation and memorization to Muslims, also calls for the establishment of Quranic recitation laboratories in the country where the science of recitation can be taught among Quranic students for better performance.
I would like to congratulate the winners, but in Quranic recitation there is no loser. Everybody is a winner.
I would like to urge all of us to redouble our efforts to take this Islamic knowledge across the length and breadth of the world.
The overall winners of the first category were presented with 5 million naira each, plus cars among other prizes, courtesy of Yobe State government, and are expected to represent Nigeria in the competition at the international level. In Damaturu, Yunusa Suleiman, NTA News.
Gombe State government has purchased and presented 17 brand new GAC GS4 SUV model official vehicles to members of the State Executive Council. Emmanuel Akila reports that the presentation was done shortly after the State Executive Council meeting, where memoranda for the execution of projects in education, environment and safety were approved by the Council.
Chairman in Council.
Governor Muhammad Inwa Yahya sits to preside over the Council meeting with agendas on projects that reflect on the state budget for the year 2024, christened Budget of Continuity and Consolidation.
Schools are student-centered. It has to do with the students, how they are being taught, what the teacher is going through, because you have to take the teacher into cognizance too. So apart from infrastructural development, I said there's going to be a lot of teacher recruitment, there's a lot of projects ongoing.
Council approval for the payment of compensation to individuals, organizations along the FCET Goli erosion site. That approval is in the sum of 389 million.
His Excellency would like to...
At a brief ceremony after the council meeting, the governor presented keys of the newly procured vehicles to the 17 commissioners in his cabinet.
There is need for us to be prudent in whatever we do, to reduce cost of governance, but yet perform as administrators and governors. That is why there is need for commissioners and ministries, departments and agencies to have vehicles for them to operate efficiently and effectively.
The state government had presented same brand of official vehicles to members of the State House of Assembly. In Gombe, Emmanuel Akila, NTA News.
While the passing of former governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, remains shocking and unexpected, it cannot diminish his contributions to rob the nation of his memory as a visionary leader. Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu expressed this view when she paid a condolence visit to the widow of the deceased artist Eleyele residence in Ibadan. State House correspondent Adeni Taiwo has details.
Just as it is for joyous occasions, tragic moments also bring people together to share in the grief of others, offer needed support and solace. That is the mission of Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu to the Ibadan residence of former governor of Ondo State, late Rotimi Akeredolu, where she condoled with his widow Betty Akeredolu and other family members. She was accompanied on the visit by wife of the Vice President, Nana Shetima, and some state governors' wives. With the death of Akeredolu, the First Lady says Nigeria has lost one of her best, but she was quick to remind his family to take comfort in the knowledge that the former governor lived an impactful life that shaped the turn of events at critical times in the life of the nation.
He has done his best. He was a great, brave man, loved by my family, loved by my husband, respected by my husband. We can only wish that the legacies is left behind can continue and it endures. And I wish the wife, the children, grandchildren, and the family, immediate family, that God should comfort them and also ease their pains.
Thanking the First Lady and her entourage for the visit on behalf of his family, brother of the deceased, Professor Oluwole Akeredolu, says the family is comforted by the show of love at their time of grief.
Like the wife of the president said, we don't have much to say. All we need to just say is just thank you. And that you have promised to stand by us and by our mother, our wife here. The Lord will stand with you too.
The First Lady's visit is a follow-up to a statement personally signed by her mourning the death of Arakunrin Akeredolu, who died on December 27 this year in Ibadan. Adeni Taiwo, NTA News.
You're watching Weekend Fun on the network service of the NTA. More reports when we return. Thanks for being there. 2023 is a year of mixed feelings for Nigerians, and it is about time to take stock of the events that have defined the particular calendar year. And Timothy Yusuf takes us down memory lane.
The year 2023 holds so much in feelings of pain and hope for Nigeria, with countless trials and tests, some familiar, others we might not have imagined, even before the general elections. And for sure, there appears many reasons to rejoice and despair. Cross-section of Nigerians believe 2023 came with the heavy burden of increasing cost of living, prices of staples consistently on the rise, and dollar exchange rate not spared, and insecurity was making things worse and its consequential effect on food stability. The nation's socio-economic condition during the year, with respect to the government and governance scorecards, the attitudes of the citizens to many issues of national relevance are worthy of note. What went wrong and what are the positives to take from the year and build upon?
The year has been very turbulent, especially the way we started the year with cashlessness, not because people are broke, but the fact that there was no physical money available.
I believe we've made a very, very fundamental move in terms of achieving a milestone that is worth celebrating.
Many believe it's about time to make positive corrective projections into the future to organize a better 2024 and years ahead.
The federal government prioritized the introduction of a new revenue allocation formula that gives more money to the states and local governments to enable them meet their increased responsibilities and duties.
However, the hope of change of banners at all levels of governance gave hope to many as Nigerians look forward to the solutions to be provided by the renewed hope mantra of the Tinubu government.
His passion to deliver, and people around him, and his vision for Nigeria, I expect that by 2024, things will begin to normalize.
We must support the government in power, and we must allow the opposition to also have a say in what is happening.
As a country, those who know are of the opinion that religion, ethnic and geopolitical divides have made national problem solving ever more difficult. Going into 2024, if there is any issue and developmental projection the government needs to prioritize above others, it should be congregating Nigerians to a united front, as many believe that this is a time the country needs a national peace and unity dialogue to discuss the healing of the nation. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
The outstanding performance of the stock market in the last day of trading for year 2023 had the all-share index gain at 45.9%. Industry players say it is the third best all-time high in the last decade, as they predict positive outlook for the nation's economy in the first 3 quarters of year 2024, despite current double-digit inflation rate put at 28% by the National Bureau of Statistics. Amaka Owo reports.
The economic landscape of the country is witnessing the impact of remarkable government policies made in year 2023 aimed at transforming the economy in line with the renewed hope agenda of the president, who hit the ground running with the announcement of removal of fuel subsidy upon assumption of office. Other policies made include unification of exchange rates, removal of forex ban on 43 items, among other policies of the government for economic sustainability.
The markets are reacting positively to the reform of President Tinubu, harmonizing the exchange rate regime, removing the fuel subsidy, tweaking the management of the central bank. All that's very positive.
Efforts were also made by the government to cushion the shocks posed by some of its policies through palliative structures in place, especially for small and medium enterprises. Reactions from stakeholders address the restored confidence in the nation's capital market in year 2023, recapitalization of banks in the coming year, actualizing a $1 trillion economy by the government in year 2026, among other economic reforms.
The significant growth the market has shown this year will spur investors to want to support these banks to be able to raise their capital, either by way of public offer or by way of rights issue or a combination of those. And for companies, for banks that have not been to the market before, some of them have to do initial public offering. I foresee a good year, at least startup of the year.
By the time government policy in terms of the executive order that the president issued comes to fruition, I think by January we expect it to be well gazetted, and the implementation will start in earnest. That will help to create liquidity in the FX market.
It is the hope of Nigerians that the deliberate intentions of the government in creating a robust economy for all be actualized come year 2024. In Lagos, Amaka Owo, NTA News.
And joining me in the studio to x-ray the year under review is the Director of Special Duties and State Operations, National Orientation Agency, David Akoji. Compliments of the season and welcome to Weekend File.
Thank you very much for having me. Good evening, viewers, and compliments of the season.
Okay, a lot happened in Nigeria this year. Some will say the good, the bad, and the ugly. Can you give us an insight of how Nigeria has fared in 2023?
Well, like you said, it has been a mixed bag, and depending on which side of the divide you are looking at it from, you might want to say that the cup is either half empty or half full. But I think what needs to be said is that 2023 was a trying year for us as a country. Beginning from the early period of 2023, when CBN introduced the Naira redesign policy, which was poorly implemented and led to a lot of hardship, for Nigerians. Nigerians were unable to access their monies held in the banks, and then some had to purchase their money at very, very high cost from operators of point of sales places across the country. You know, and this left a sour taste in the minds and in the mouths of plenty people. But in line with the promises that the current administration made, as soon as it came into power, it eased the stress and the pressures created by the Naira redesign policy, reassuring citizens, you know, that the old currency would still be tenable and that people had no cause for worry. I'm beginning to look at it in retrospect from the point of view of the economy. You know, you would find that also beyond that, one of the early pronouncements that the president made at the point of being inaugurated was had to do with the removal of subsidy on premium motor spirits. Now, that removal had its gains and pains. You know, the gains was the fact that immediately that pronouncement released Nigeria's economy from the shackles of the subsidy and all the controversies surrounding the subsidy regime and the subsidy policy. And you will find that immediately Nigeria began to save money. You know, huge sums of money in trillions that ordinarily would have been paid out, you know, as subsidy, began to show up as savings. And in that way, the administration was able to support state governments to revive economies that had become moribund of several states across the country, you know, to establish an infrastructure fund, you know, to kickstart infrastructure works in various states, you know, across the country. And you also find that, again, in line with the economy, the president demonstrated understanding, you know, of the need to diversify the economy. And so you found that a minister was appointed and a ministry established for marine and the blue economy. You know, this is an area of our economy that had been neglected, more or less, for many years. And it's an area that holds significant potential. There are many countries that are leveraging on the economic opportunities that is provided by the marine and blue economy. So you can see that immediately the administration understood the fact that we could no longer continue to focus on this mono economy that crude offered, you know. So a lot is going on. There are policy initiatives that are being rolled out in that direction.
All right, can we look at security now in the country in the year under review? What's your assessment and what more needs to be done?
Okay, in terms of the security, immediately you find that the administration rejigged our security architecture. You know, it responded to the public outcry and immediately changed the leaders at the helms of the army, the navy, the air force, the police, you know, and all of these that form our security architecture. And the president himself went to the northeast to visit with the troops and boost their morale, you know. And since he came, he has been motivating our security forces to up the ante in the fight against insecurity in various locations across the country. You know, we are pained by the mishap in Kaduna, but that also demonstrates to you the fact that there's been increased onslaught, you know, by our security forces on non-state actors that are causing security problems in different parts of the country. Recently, the military reported, as recent as yesterday, that they had eliminated over 6,000 terrorists, you know, and non-state actors that are causing problems across this country. And the president has been urging them to keep this going so that every part of this country can be secured.
All right, just before we go on a quick break, in terms of infrastructure, how well did Nigeria fare as a nation with the reviewed National Integrated Master Plan in view of current realities?
Well, you see, I said earlier that the current administration had set up an infrastructure fund. That's a demonstration, you know, of seriousness in tackling our infrastructure deficit. There's no way you can achieve significant improvements in the economy without tackling infrastructure deficit in terms of roads, in terms of transportation, and all of that. So it is in response to this that the administration has introduced that infrastructure fund and is carrying subnationals along in this direction and ensuring that they also benefit from the funds that are available and will be available to make sure that inter- and intra-city roads especially are addressed. Thus far, the administration has been fixing bad roads across the country. And if you are in Abuja, Abuja speaks for itself. Okay. Abuja has become a beehive of construction. All the works that had earlier gone moribund are awakened. Significant ones would be the Apo Bridge, for instance. If you go there now, you see that road actually taking shape.
Okay, David Akoji, let's just take a break now. I know you still have more information for us. So we'll take a break now, and Weekend File will continue shortly. Many thanks for being there. The year 2023 is winding down, but there are renewed expectations from Nigerians that the gains from investment made in various sectors, particularly oil and gas, will help to lubricate the nation's economy and end scarcity of petroleum products in 2024. This hope is based on prospect of oil production by the resuscitated Port Harcourt refinery and the need for government to complement these by investing in other industries in the Niger Delta region, such as solid minerals. Robinson Derataide reports.
This year, Nigerians experience hard times in the oil and gas sector, with the increase in petroleum products over the removal of oil subsidy and subsequent periodic increase in fuel price. In the last 10 years, federal government has reportedly invested over 11 trillion naira to revamp the oil and gas sector, in particular rehabilitation of the 4 refineries in the country. The rehabilitated Old Port Harcourt refinery is expected to produce about 60,000 barrels of oil per day. This should end importation of fuel and reduce prices, thereby boosting the nation's economy.
If the Port Harcourt refinery comes on stream, whatever capacity it is, there will be a significant change in the cost of energy consumption in Nigeria.
For the president of Nigeria, Ahmed Tinubu, if he achieves the production of fuel, diesel, even the aviation fuel here in Nigeria, that will crash this high level of exchange rate of naira to dollar.
Beyond the rehabilitation of the existing refineries, industry players are urging the government to review the modular refinery policy to accommodate more local players in the oil industry, thus discouraging illegal bunkering and reducing environmental pollution.
We must provide a window, declare emergency on modular refinery. That will engage some of these local producers of oil.
They maintain that the solid mineral sector is yet to receive the attention it deserves, despite its abundance in the Niger Delta region. Glass sand, clay, and marble are some mineral deposits in River State waiting to be harnessed.
There are sand in area, sand you can use to produce glasses around Abuja, Onega side, but of what commercial quantity? Nobody knows. There must be study, first of all, before we begin to think of.
The setting up of Board of Trustees in the Petroleum Industry Act for some oil companies is commended, and observers call for effective implementation of the Act in 2024. In Port Harcourt, Robinson Delatede, NTA News.
Okay, I still have in the studio the Director of Special Duties and State Operations, National Orientation Agency, David Akoji. Very quickly now, looking at COP28, Nigeria signed a number of MOUs, including the Presidential Power Initiative with Germany, and lots more. What should Nigerians expect as gains in this direction?
Well, you see, the interactions that the President had with other world leaders at COP28, he was very clear about one thing. If you check the contribution of Nigeria to the challenge of pollution, you would find that it's largely insignificant compared to what's happening in the more industrialized countries around the world. The president made it very clear that other leaders should support Nigeria, and he was very strong in his presentation, drawing the attention of world leaders to the fact that Nigeria stands ready to do what it takes to reduce, this pollution that is of great concern, across the world. Nigerians should expect improvement in terms of our national power mix. And this is an area that we have had challenge. We have always been focused on wind, and other forms of power generation. But then the current MOU that Nigeria is signing with Germany will also diversify our power sector to the extent that we will begin to see significant contributions in terms of solar, and other forms of power generating capabilities. And this, if successfully carried out, as is expected, will also impact positively on the economy, on small businesses, that thrive when power is stable, and when they don't have to spend so much money investing on other sources of power.
All right. The Director of Special Duties on State Operations National Orientation Agency, David Akaji, that's much we'll be able to take. Many thanks for your inputs on Weekend File.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be here.
All right, another break beckons. Weekend File continues shortly. Glad to know you're still there. Now to our earlier report, the National Assembly has passed the 2024 appropriation bill of 28.7 trillion naira. This is the first time Nigeria's budget is passed on a weekend during a special sitting in the bicameral legislature. National Assembly correspondents Lami Ali and Mitari Ikben takes it from here.
This bill is now read for the third time and passed.
31 days after submission by the executive, the 2024 appropriation bill is now ready for presidential assent. The harmonized report from Senate Appropriation Committee was approved, which contained an additional 1.2 trillion naira.
The closely and harmonious appropriation process, the executive forwarded requests for additional funding and some item of expenditure to the committee, which were not included in the bill as submitted by the executive.
There was also adjustment on the exchange rate. It's now 800 naira to the dollar against the proposed 750 naira. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, reaffirmed commitments of the National Assembly to engender deliverance of good governance by working hand in hand with the executive.
Our work does not end here. We will continue to labor diligently to ensure that the bill is promptly transmitted to Mr. President for its immediate assent, enabling its implementation to commence on January 1st, 2024. I also wish to express my deep appreciation to my esteemed colleagues for your patience. This selfless service, I must say, exemplifies the sacrifices that the National Assembly consistently makes for the progress and development of our great nation.
Also, as the special plenary, Deputy President of the Senate, Barrow Jibrin, and Senator Jimo Ibrahim raised motions on the demise of former Speaker, House of Representatives, Gali Umar Abba, and the late Governor of Ondo State, Oluwarotimi Akeredolu.
Was a dogged fighter who stood firm for the independence of the legislature. You will ever be remembered for the sacrifice he made to make sure that House of Representatives was put in the best place to perform its function.
Oluwarotimi Akeredolu came as a legend, a man who served his people. He was the former president of Nigeria Bar Association, and despite that, he was governor of our state, elected twice. Oluwarotimi Akeredolu came as a legend, a man who served his people.
A minute's silence was observed in honor of each of the deceased. The recent killings in Plateau State also led the Senate to pass a resolution to invite security chiefs. Senators sympathized with victims of the heinous attack following a motion from Senator Diket Plang.
This recent attack appears to be a well-coordinated and well-orchestrated, with about 20 villages being attacked simultaneously.
What happened in Bokos is unprecedented.
The issue of Mango, many people were killed around Kerang. Where was the Air Force? Where are the helicopters?
Meanwhile, Senate has approved securitization of outstanding ways and means of 7.3 trillion naira. The medium-term expenditure framework 2022 to 2026 was also adjusted to reflect the changes in the 2024 budget, while the 2022 to 2024 external borrowing rolling plan was also approved. After the passage of the budget, the Senate made a pledge that it will ensure that MDAs, that is ministries, departments and agencies of government, implement the 2024 appropriation in line with the spirit and letters of the budget documents. I'll now hand you over to my colleague Mitaire Ikpen, who is at the House of Representatives.
Thank you, Lami. The House of Representatives equally passed the 2024 appropriation bill of 28.7 trillion naira, which was 1.2 trillion naira higher than the estimates the President presented to the House. I had opportunity to speak with the Chairman House Committee on Appropriation to provide further insight into the reasons for increase in the estimates.
We had a meeting with the GOEs. We believe that their submission is not enough, so that they have agreed to increase their revenues to 700 billion. So when we increase that, we are able to get that to 1.2 trillion, which we applied in capital.
The MDAs should not wait for the funds to be released. They should quickly swing into action as soon as the budget is signed by commencing the procurement planning. After the planning, they will now do adverts and then invite the contractors.
After 1 month of scrutiny, the House at the Committee on Supply passed the appropriation bill of 28.7 trillion naira. The House also approved President Tinubu's request for securitization of 7.3 trillion naira ways and means. Being the last sitting of the House for the year, Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, in closing remarks, says review of the Electoral Act 2022 will be priority in the new year.
On strengthening it to deliver more free and fair elections and reduce the judiciary's influence on the electoral processes.
The House adopted a motion to investigate the Christmas Eve killings in Plateau State.
To provide aerial surveillance and support to flush out criminal hideouts.
I am tired of standing every day to observe 1 minute silence. The lives of Nigerians should begin to matter to us.
With the 2024 budget passed, this hallowed chamber will go serene and quiet as lawmakers proceed on recess to reconvene on the 23rd of January 2024 with hopefully fresh ideas and strategies that will enhance the legislative business. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
With the passage of the 2024 appropriations, what comes to the minds of some lawmakers is the level of implementation when finally assented to by the President. Our National Assembly correspondent Issa Mohammed spoke with a cross-section of lawmakers on their expectations from the budget.
Even though we received the budget very late, but we work vigorously and tirelessly to ensure that we pass this appropriation bill into law today.
We saw for the first time stability in the process. There was no tinkering with the budget process. The deficit remained 9.something trillion. The crude oil benchmark remained $77.96. What happened was that they little bit adjusted the exchange rate from 750 to 800 because of the reality on the ground with what is in the public market, as you are aware.
The budget is quite high, and we believe that the more the better for Nigerians in terms of agriculture, food production. He said he wants a lot of food production so that hunger can be a thing of the past in the country in terms of education, works, infrastructure, and all that. So we expect a lot of transformation in 2024.
We stayed here for over 5 hours, as you can see, or thereabouts, and we make sure that the budget has been passed today. And we hope the executive will sign it in January, and the ball is now in their court to implement it.
And away from budget matters, for stories trending in the sporting world, let's join Oche Ngbidi on Sport Update.